What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another Golden Record track breakdown, or should I say, the final breakdown of the Golden Record. That's right, 15 tracks, 3 weeks later, and here we are, time to break down the very last one, and that is Transmissions. There's some cool samples that we've used in here, as well as a lot of drum layering to get our lo-fi kit fully fledged out. So let's go ahead and dive on into this thing and talk about the production of Transmissions. Alright, diving into Ableton for the last time on these breakdowns, we're going to start in the same spot with this one that we started with Solar Surfer, and that is this kick room group. In Solar Surfer it was the drum rooms, but we got kick room in here because it's specifically being sidechained to the kick as opposed to a full drum kit. Now, we got a little bit more sauce on this one. We've got, the other one was at 17%. I think this one's at 20%, but that's just because I'm trying to get my drum to kick through that bit more, So let's talk about the melodics that make up this group. We've got our main sample and our beeps. These two are very much connected. We've got a pad, then we've got this nice breathy note that'll happen occasionally, as well as our guitar solo that starts about halfway through and carries us into our outro with the Eisenhower sample. So let's talk about this main sample and the beeps. We'll go ahead and solo this main sample first. You can hear what it's doing. Very expansive, big, you can see the space floating around you. You have this very much an idea of just floating through the cosmos. And so that's what it's doing. Now our beeps, let's listen to them. Sounds very similar, does it not? So these are actually playing the same notes. The beeps, to me, it's a bit of a call and response. As I was thinking about this track, and I always go back to the movie version of it in my mind, I kind of liked this idea of maybe these computers having a conversation, that somewhere aboard the Golden Record, there's perhaps AI, something, who knows? But I liked the idea of perhaps these two satellites passing each other and having a conversation as they float through space. So we have this main one, which is kind of the older one, and then we have this the little beeps, which is kind of the younger one, and it's trying to catch up. Eventually they do sync up a couple of times where they'll play on the exact same notes. You can see in here where that sort of happens a few times right at the end, and then we go into our Juno tag right as they do sync up, and that is the only time on this album the Juno tag appears. But it's my tag, I gotta have it in there at some point. It appeared in the last track on the last album, so I thought I would keep it as a continuing sort of theme, having it appear in the last track of this one as well, just putting my name on it a little. So let's go ahead and listen to this main sample and the beeps together, and we're gonna start it probably about right here. Here how they sync up. I just love it. I love the way that they do it. It's like a little conversation between two little robots in my mind. So then we have the pads, and the pads are basically doing the same thing the entire time. We do have a fade out here just for a little bit of impact when we do our little breakdown moment with the drums. But let's listen to the pads on their own. Oh yeah. Expansive. Space. The final frontier. You can see the intro to some kind of big sci-fi something beginning here. I really liked the way that these pads helped ground us in outer space. We've always had an element of it in every track. We've talked about that. This song is full space, just like Greetings was. So then we have our breathiness. Listen to what it's doing. Nice. Just a little bit. You can hear that there's some noise in there. And that's just it pitch shifted a bit, just up a few little semitones. And it's really simple. That's what it's doing the whole time, but it adds an extra little texture in there. So let's go ahead and listen to all of these things. We'll get to our guitar solo here in a second, but I just want you to listen to the pads, the breath, the beeps, and the sample. And you hear how they fall similarly, but not quite on exactly the same note. Higher that time. It's just variation, ear candy, little bits and bobs, but all of that layering, like we've talked about, can make for quite an exciting track. Now we're going to come down to our guitar solo. Shout out freesound.org. Similar kind of thing to my sax on the 32nd Street track. I found it free sample on YouTube that just happened to be exactly what I was looking for. Same kind of thing. I just typed in, 80 BPM C sharp minor guitar solo or something like that into freesound.org. And this is what we got. And listen to how it sounds. So initially this piece was being done by someone using a loop pedal, I think, so you can hear occasionally some other chords and things in there. So I've chopped it up a fair amount and tried to, kind of get the best bits, the things that I wanted. Some things that I didn't want, I just cut those out. You can see there's some gaps in here where you can hear there was some of that looping in the initial sample, and I just wasn't really vibing with what was happening with the rest of the track, so we just cut those out. And with everything, with how rich everything else is in this section, it's fine. You really don't even notice it. It creates nice moments of pause even. And you can see too that some of those breaths line up kind of in those gaps of where the guitar is. So the guitar is that. We have it being EQ'd a bit. We've got the guitar rig on there, which we've talked about before. It gives us that really great guitar sound. And then just a bit of delay, just a little bit to add some extra spaciness, some depth, some expanse to everything going on in there. So that's most of the melodic section. Let's go ahead and drive into these drums. So our drums this is probably one of the most expanded drum sections we've had, and a lot of it is because I like to work with samples and loops and things. I like to chop them up and really manipulate them. Sample manipulation is my favorite kind of thing, but this one I was really kind of building out a drum kit, a full drum kit through a variety of different loops that I had. So we've got this top percussion. We'll listen to it. And this is the very first element of the drum kits that we hear the entire time. And it's real simple. There's, just those like little hits, little claps, nothing too crazy going on in there. Then we've got our top drums, same idea. It's just there's nothing too kicky in this yet. Real simple, steady beat, easy peasy, little marching, steady rhythm, relaxed. And you can see that they kind of help to create a bit of a fill naturally by layering them on top of each other. So let's go into this next lo-fi loop. You can see there's a bit of kick in here. You can really see that I've boosted the low end a bit to get more of that kick in, and I've taken out some of the higher end or some of our mid section because that's where our top drums were existing. And so you cut a little bit of that frequency out to let the frequencies of these come through a bit more. Then we've got this cymatics lo-fi loop in here. It's just another one of those loops that I had, and you just keep layering them on top of each other. Layer, 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 layer. And then very last coming in is this lo-fi kick. You can hear it. Big old thing. And we've got the Diablo plugin on this as well, really giving it some big old body. But when you bring it all together, right? Like, that's a big old kit. I like that. That's a groove. You can see we take things out as we move into this kind of breakdown with the guitar solo. As it's really just kind of shredding away. And then we go basically just to our kick for a minute. And that's where everything really kicks off. We'll bring it all back in. We got our sample back, our beeps are doing their thing, the pads are still laying down that nice sort of blanket of sound in there. The breath still creating that interesting texture as the guitar solo slowly fades out. And this is just the end of the guitar solo reversed. It's into the Eisenhower.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Now this sample, this final bit before we go into the last little bit of the track, we'll talk about the Eisenhower sample. Got this also out of free sound, I think, or it may have come from NASA's website. Either way, it's a message from President Eisenhower as he was talking about one of these early, it was one of the first messages ever sent from a satellite, which was pretty cool. And I just thought it was a nice kind of bookend to the whole project. You know, the message that he says in it, the peace on earth and all of that. It just, you know, even though it may not necessarily quite reflect modern America, it still reflects the values of what, you know, the whole idea of space exploration began as a unified front. So yeah, we've got that in there. It's this last little sample, and it really, I mean, it grounds us. We have these same kind of beat repeats that we had in the words and the greetings and all of the languages. Remember, we had all those different beat repeats and fills and stuff. Same ones are in here, and they were also in the a bit of the Claire de Lune piece as well. So we have them the same ones in here, and it's just furthering that, you know, that glue. It's really bringing in that first sound you heard, this last sound you heard, making it a cohesive story, top to bottom, A to B, however you like it. It's all coming together kind of full circle. So let's just go ahead and listen to this final kind of little outro bit, and then we'll wrap this baby up.
ladies and gentlemen,
through the marvels of scientific advance, my voice is coming to you from a satellite circling in outer space. My message is a simple one. Through this unique means, I convey to you and to all mankind America's wish for peace on earth and goodwill toward men everywhere.
So that was Transmissions, the final track on the album. And then that will do it, y'all. That's it. We've broken down every track off of the Golden Record. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me through these breakdowns. I've had a lot of fun making them. I hope you've learned something along the way. And if you've enjoyed this kind of video content from me, do not worry. I've got some big plans for video projects going forward. We're going to be bringing in some cool ideas here soon. So keep it locked in for more. Keep sharing the album. Thank y'all so much for your support. And I'll catch y'all on the next one.